And we're live.
Well, sorry about that. Technical difficulties again. Did we lose all the comments that we had before? Can we pull those? I'll pull those up.
I still have them on my end.
Oh, I don't.
Are they still showing? Are they showing on your screen?
No, I don't have them on my screen.
You can click through on Facebook onto the post. But if he's got him, tell him to just read him.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you go ahead? I'll catch up.
Go ahead. What do you mean?
Start. If you have the comments on your screen, go ahead and Go.
Okay. So Cassie's question, which we were about to interrupt, we were interrupted, Cassie, through our network for some reason. Hopefully, I don't know if you're here or back. We have a few people who are coming back in now. Sorry about that. How often should the IPP be updated? So the IPP is usually updated every year to every other year. So that is when the caseworker with regional center will have an actual IPP meeting. It's usually annually or biannually. Some people may go several years, which is not the best strategy to make sure that the IPP is concluding everything that it should and that regional center is doing everything they should. So I would expect a once a year deal with getting IPPs updated. Jill, he wasn't a criminal, just dealing with med changes. His doctor wrote a letter asking for patience. Yeah, so Jill, I would definitely recommend calling our office and speaking with an education advocate. Alyssa, is there a law, guideline, or expectation in which special education students are expected to be on a school bus within the state of California? So I couldn't quote you like a guideline or a regulation for that. However, nobody is obligated to be on a school bus. So if your child can't ride the school bus, there's alternatives. Either through you could be the child's transportation. But if that's also not possible, then the child can have private transportation if they have an IEP. Through, again, that's a part of what special education can offer. So if they have an IEP, they're enrolled in special education, even if they're in a general ed classroom. And so they're expected to be on the school bus within the state of California. No. So the answer is no. They're not expected. It's not they don't have to be on the school bus. Renee, my regional center worker never brought up the sections. She was having a hard time with the new IPP format. When I spoke with her, I voiced that I was worried about how the amendment would look, but she said she will write a statement on my behalf to give reason for my amendment. Okay, so she will also act as a witness on my behalf. So one thing that we want to make sure we try and stay away from, Renee, is for the caseworker to include for the purpose of IHSS, for the purpose of protective supervision. So we do see that often when people are getting amendments for their IPPs, where they'll say, mom came to us stating that she's applying for protective supervision and that we need she wanted to bring up these behaviors to help. The caseworkers will do that because they are trying to help, but that is not helpful. So the reason for the amendment, it should just be, the reason is things need to be included that weren't included before. That's the whole reason. That's it. Or things have changed recently. And therefore, here's new behaviors, here's new information. That would be the reason. And for them to act as a witness on your behalf, it's going to be caseworker by caseworker. Some caseworkers with the regional center are super, super willing to help, yet they know nothing about the regulations of protective supervision. And so sometimes they may think that they're helping by providing information, but they're not. So it's there's no right or wrong way. It's that whoever is going to be a witness, I would hope that they have some understanding of how protective supervision works according to the regulations, not their opinion of it. But I don't know, Dakota, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think if what they say in the amendment, as far as the reason, like you're saying, if they're just saying we're doing this because they're trying to get IHSS, like you said, that's not a good thing. But if they're explaining, that it was a misunderstanding as far as what needed to be in the IEP and you wanted to add everything to make it more complete, I think that's a good idea because of what you'd said earlier about needing an explanation for why this wasn't said the first time. So I think that it's definitely not a bad idea. And I think having a witness in general is a good thing, but like you said, they do need to understand what what's going to get protect supervision and what purposes. And one thing I'll say as far as having a witness is it's much better for them to give just the information regarding the child's behaviors, right? The most important things, the dangerous things, elopement, self-injurious behavior, climbing up on tall things and falling off, pica, things like that. And not to make statements like, this child needs help all the time, in all situations, always, for everything. Because that doesn't give anything specific, doesn't really help, right? It's just their opinion. But if they could say, this child has a documented history of eloping, that's much more useful in a hearing than saying the child, always needs to be watched for everything. Because that's just telling the judge what you want them to think.
Agreed. Thank you, Mary Joy. Renee, also my IPP was done in February of this year. Yeah, I mean, regardless, again, if new things happen, new things happen. An amendment can be added to an IPP, whenever it's necessary. Valeria, on Tuesday, I officially turned in the IHSS application for my mom with dementia. I wonder how long the next step will take. I haven't received the doctor document to fill out because I need to enroll my mom for her capital
Cal Optima
PACE clinic.
I'll read the rest. Also, when would I need to ask for PS? My mom needs 24/7 care, 27/7 care, even more. Can't be let alone. She's an elopement risk. I help and or assist with majority of her ADLs. Caleb, on your calendar for December 9th. Let's just take it one thing at a time. How long will next step be? Haven't received documents yet. I had a case recently that I applied for a while, and it seems like it's taking a very long time for these documents to come out. I think this might just be a winter thing, that a lot of things do get slowed down around the holidays, that they get backed up, and they're working on older cases. We know that the hearings are backed up. I think this might just be it's that time of year that the counties stop doing stuff on time. So could take a while. It's supposed to take, only a few weeks for you to receive that document. But right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like a month maybe.
You can also print it out online, Valeria. So the form you're referring to, the doctor form, that's the healthcare certification form, the SOC 873. So it's public online. If you don't want to wait, you don't have to. You can print it out, get it signed by the doctor, and then submit it to IHSS today if you wanted to do that.
And then you mentioned you need to be. Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
A few more. You mentioned that you need to unenroll your mom from the PACE clinic. I guess if that's a living situation, you need to time that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you want to do it close to when, once you've turned in the documents, the assessment's coming up, maybe that would be better. You will receive back pay to whenever she starts living at home and you're taking care of her. But that's, to whenever that starts, when the hours start at. But it could be a while before you actually get the money for that. So if that's a difficulty, that's something. When would you need to ask for PS? Basically any time before or during the assessment. You should mention it. And she's on, you're on Caleb's calendar, so hopefully that'll all be ironed out.
Looking forward to chatting with you, Valeria. Sandy, are you allowed to do a split shift? I can't log a split shift online. Thank you. So working your IHSS hours, like 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the evening type of deal is what I'm guessing. I'm not too sure if the timesheet system allows it to be that way for this, like the same recipient. I'm not too sure. Dakota, do you have a thought on that?
Sorry, can you say again? Did you mean multiple providers taking a shift, or working some hours, taking a break, and then working more hours in the same day?
I believe it's the latter.
Okay, I don't think that's a distinction for IHSS, because they only really care about you not going over your weekly maximum and not working more than 24 hours in a single day. Is pretty much the only two rules when it comes to entering your hours. So I think as long as you are within, like, I think they just care how many hours did you work, not when it happened. But if you mean splitting the hours with a second provider, that'd be a whole different thing.
And then Cassie, when should an IPP be updated? Once a year, unless there's been a change. So anytime there's a change that's significant to this child's needs or care, or this adult, you can always get the IPP, like an addendum to it or an amendment, right? But a brand new IPP only happens during the annual or biannual IPP meetings. So you can't change an IEP. You can't technically update an IEP. I'm sorry, IPP, excuse me.
They happen every other year.
Correct. That's, I think that's most of the time. And so again, an IPP can't really be updated. You can get an amendment or an addendum or a whole new IPP once it's time for that, like that evaluation. Sandy, one recipient, split shifts in one day, login will let me. So yeah, the Sandy, like Dakota was saying, it shouldn't matter too much. Like when you're doing it. So if you're only working a few hours in the morning and then only a few hours in the evening for the same recipient, it's not like IHSS requires you to split those up in that way, to our understanding.
Yeah, I think as long as you just put them in as the total number between all of the work throughout the day, that should be fine, as long as you're not going over your weekly maximum.
Yeah. All right, it is 12:55. I assume Nicole's going live in Spanish today, yeah?
I believe so. And Myra's probably joining her. Advocate Myra, not Big Advocate Myra.
Thanks for the clarification, Dakota. All right, well, we'll let everybody go. We'll let everybody enjoy their Friday, unless you speak Spanish. If you speak Spanish or you have friends or know people that speak Spanish, watch Nicole or Myra here in a few minutes. You still can enjoy your Friday, but if you speak Spanish, you got to stick around. It's the rules. Just kidding. But thank you, everybody, for being here today. And thank you for being so patient during our technical difficulties. We finally have a little bit of a crowd again. I see the number up there as we're ending. So thank you. If you had a question that we couldn't get to today because of our network issues, please message us. Give us a call. You guys can reach out to Galt Advocacy anytime. Load up Dakota's calendar because he's ready to chat with you.
Question while we were down, and so it might be in the recording afterwards, so you can always double check that if you didn't hear your answer to your question.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Wonderful questions, as always. We'll let everybody go. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday break next week, and I hope everybody can enjoy the weekend. Dakota, see you next time.
See you next time. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.